want to teach you about some of the keys on your keyboard and what some of those different keys do, so that yeah, you know what to do if you run into certain situations, and you know which keys are going to be able to help you. So the first key I would like to talk about is the insert key. And usually on the keyboard they have a key right here called insert key. Well, what the heck does that insert key do? If I was to ever find myself in a situation, I'm going to press insert on my keyboard right now and type, right? But in the past, what would happen is if I pressed insert on my keyboard, it would start erasing text ahead of the flashing insertion point. So this is the flashing insertion point right here. And if you ever find that you are typing, and as you type, it eats the text as it types, right? So it's over typing everything. That's because the insert key got bumped. And some software in the past used to do that. I haven't seen any software in the last couple of days as I've played with this to see if there's still current software that does it. I haven't seen any software, come across any software that does it. You saw me just try it right here and it didn't work. But it's good to know about. If you ever find yourself in a situation where your flashing insertion point is eating the text ahead of it as you type, that means the insert key probably got bumped and some feature known as overwrite got turned on. So Microsoft Word used to do this. The current version of Word wasn't doing it when I tried it. But it's just good to know about. If you ever find yourself in that situation, you will know that the insert key got bumped and you can toggle it. You can toggle the insert key by pressing it again. The next key, which is good to know about, is the numlock key, which I think is a really interesting name, like numlock, like, you know, numhead. I don't know. It's kind of a weird one. What does the numlock key do? So if I press my numlock key, I will notice on my keyboard a little light goes on or off. So I'm just looking to see if there's a light on this keyboard. Yeah, and there is. And so right here, you know, I would see this little light if this keyboard was plugged in going on and off. And what the numlock key does is it enables this 10 key area over here. So if I have my numlock key off, you'll notice I'm pressing numlock, and it's not really, it's just kind of jumping me all around in my presentation. But if I have numlock on, so now I'm turning numlock on, now my 10 key pad works over here. And so I could start typing numbers and hitting enter and things like that. So numlock gets your 10 key pad over here on the right. Get your 10 keypad to do what it does. So that's numlock. Next thing which is good to know about is you've got a print screen key. And sometimes it's spelled out as print screen. Like on the keyboard I'm looking at down here, that's how it's spelled out. But on this keyboard, it is a PRT, SCRN. Actually, this one's just SCN. So print screen, what the heck does that do? You've seen this cool tool called the snipping tool, right? And the snipping tool will allow us to take snips or screenshots. So if I go ahead and just get a little screenshot right there, now I have that image. Well, what if you're working on a Windows machine that doesn't have the snipping tool, or you know, you just find yourself in a situation where I need to take a screenshot and I can't find the snipping tool? All you need to do is press your print screen key on your keyboard. You can hear me pressing it right now. And then launch a program like Microsoft Word, which will allow you to paste images into it. Or you can launch a program like Paint, right? And if I choose now to paste, you know, this screenshot, the image, pressing the print screen key on my keyboard took a screenshot of my entire desktop and put that image into memory as a copied item. So I can now paste that into any software that allows you to paste images. So that's the print screen key. The next key to know about is the Windows key. So you'll notice down here on keyboards for computers, most computers running Windows operating system, you've got your little Windows key. When you press that little Windows key, it launches this start button, right? And in Windows 8, it might do something different because Windows 8 sucks and it's got different stuff in it. But I press this little, you know, Windows key down here and it launches my start menu. And so that's sometimes useful if for some reason my toolbar isn't coming up or something, because I have my toolbar set to auto hide. And the way you do that is you right click your toolbar, choose properties, and you could do this thing here, auto hide the taskbar. And so when I'm not using my taskbar, it disappears, and when I put my mouse over, it comes up. Sometimes it doesn't come up, so I have to press that little Windows icon key down there at the bottom. That's what that key does. Also good to know about backspace versus delete. So on your Macintosh, you only have a delete key, I think, or backspace. I can't remember on Apple computers. And you have to hold down Command to get your backwards function or your forward function. But delete will delete forward. So I'm pressing delete on my keyboard right now, and backspace goes backwards, right? So that's the difference between backspace and delete. So just kind of good to know about. And on the Mac, you hold down Command to access the one that goes forwards. You also have a bunch of F keys up here, right? You got a bunch of F keys, F1, F2, F3, and what F stands for is function. So those are function keys, and you've got like function 1, 2, 3, and they're really kind of a holdover from the day when computers were more sort of enigmatic and more of a super geeky thing that was like, for people who, were just really into computers. They weren't for everybody. So that function keys are kind of a holdover from those days. And you can press your function keys to have certain functions done. And so, for instance, some of the holdovers that still exist, first of all, you got all those F keys up there at the top. But then, they were created. I'll tell you why they're created. Because you could assign to them different software could use them for different functions. And so you might get software and say, press this function key for that, press that function key for this. But what has evolved over time is that, the keys have, some of them have, just like distinct things they do, like F1. F1 is pretty much always help. So if I press F1, boom, help comes up. And I'm in Chrome, so help comes up for Chrome. If I was in Windows and I press F1, so I'm in Windows and I press F1, and now Windows help and support comes up. There we go. A little bit more slowly, but finally it came up. So F1 is to get help. And you can play with these different function keys to see what they do. Just push them, see what they do. And a lot of them aren't going to do anything. I'm not going to play with them right now because I don't know what the heck will happen, because I haven't played with them in a really long time. Maybe never. But I do know that F1 is for help. So you can press F1 for help. What about the escape key? If you ever find yourself in a situation with your computer and how do I get out of this? This video is full screen and I don't want it to be full screen. One of the things you could try is pressing the escape key. And that's good not only when you have like a full screen video and how do I get it back down to normal size. You might try pressing escape key, but escape key is a good thing to do anytime when you're like, I'm not sure how to get my computer out of this state. Try hitting the escape key. So that's a good one to hit. You also have Control-Alt-Delete, and we're going to see this again next week when we talk about operating systems. But if your computer's ever kind of hung up or frozen, you can press Control-Alt-Delete, and that's going to bring you into this area where you could choose things, like these choices: change password, log off, switch user, lock this computer. But you could also start the task manager. And so the task manager shows you all of the different applications that are running. And if there's something that is frozen or hung, you could press Control-Alt-Delete and then come in here, select the thing that says, not responding or whatever the heck they'll say over here, and then choose End Task, and it'll end that task. And the Task Manager's just got some interesting things to look at. We'll look at this again briefly when we talk about operating systems next week. Finally, keyboard shortcuts. There's all kinds of keyboard shortcuts. So if you just go to Google and you type in Windows keyboard shortcuts, you can see a list of like Control-C for copy, Control-V for paste, Alt-Tab for switching between open applications, right? These are all some of the keyboard shortcuts, and there's a whole bunch more. And not only for Windows, but if you're on a Mac, you could get your Mac keyboard shortcuts and just Google those, and it'll give you keyboard shortcuts for doing things more efficiently. All right, so those are some of the keys you can press on your keyboard. And knowing about them is really helpful. So I'm glad that you've just learned about them, because it's going to help you as you use computers in your life.